Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another episode of Coin News Extra TV interview session, a program where we invite innovators, stakeholders, influencers in the blockchain, crypto, and fintech ecosystem to come air their view. So we are going to be looking at blockchain opportunities in Africa. So let's look at. We know there are numerous opportunities, blockchain opportunities in Africa. So we are going to be looking at some of those. Opportunities, blockchain opportunities in Africa, and some ways we can be able to exploit those opportunities. Joining us to have this conversation is Benjamin Arunda. He is the founder and leader blockchain consultant, Chain Advice. You're welcome to the show, Benjamin.
Thank you.
Yeah, how are you doing today? How is Kenya today?
Kenya is good. Kenya is good. We are pushing on the conversations in the industry, and we are liking the progress. We are happy that so many things that we were only hoping could happen um, uh, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Some of the conversations that we were just imagining, right now we can see them actually happening. We can see major stakeholders or major government institutions now coming into the conversations. So we are happy that in terms of the industry, and we are happy that this conversation is now intertwining different topics. Yeah, intertwining different topics, including job creation, including taxation, and that we are going somewhere.
Interesting. So for our audience who are joining us, we are streaming across 4 channels. You can get us live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and here on LinkedIn. So anywhere you are joining us, do well to like this our conversation and share it across your contacts. So it's a very good one. We know that information is vital in this industry. So whoever you know that needs this particular interview, this information, please do well to share it. So let's move to the conversation. So we'll go for a short break. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation. We'll be right back. Welcome to TechWells. We can see how investment can be for a startup, even for the investor that is investing in any startup. Join us every Friday, 12 p.m. West African time, as we discuss everything about startup investment in the world of blockchain, crypto, and fintech in Africa. Only on Coin News Extra TV. Welcome back to the show. It's still Coin News Extra TV interview session. So we are talking about blockchain opportunities in Africa with Benjamin Arunda. Let's look at the questions we have here. Benjamin, can you explain how blockchain technology can be used to provide financial services to the unbanked population in Africa, seeing how the African continent is?
Thank you. Thank you. That is interestingly one of the most one of the use cases that is most focused on, because it's really so applicable. One, we have to realize that one of the reasons why it has so many unbanked in the population is because the infrastructure, to mention the motor banks, do not penetrate into the rural areas in some countries. So you find that the bank structure is only available in town. So many people across Africa cannot access the towns and to open the bank account. Two is that the requirement of identity. There are people in Africa that still do not have or that have not attained the identity, the national recognized identity. That includes providing a national ID. And in my country, Kenya, you have to provide a tax number. Yeah, that is a Kenya Revenue Authority PIN number. Yeah, in different countries, it could run, but in most countries, I believe this is like a requirement. There are a pile of documents that you have to provide before you have. But the question is, allow people to access financial services before they even have before they in Kenya. You have to take. What if I'm 14 and I'm a Web3 developer and I need a bank account? What happens in Kenya is then you have to look for guardian. You use their details to open a mobile bank account, which in my view is limiting. We have so many people who do not national identity, who do not have revenue tax PIN, but who can still to access financial services. How do they do so? They can be able to open cryptocurrency wallets, yeah, and transact in cryptocurrencies, yeah, without the bank accounts. Now, bring it home to a use case that I've seen is, for instance, a company called Pay, which is one of my best use cases in that it has made it possible for people that even have feature phones to be able to access cryptocurrencies, that you can be able to buy cryptocurrency using a feature phone. And this is the fact that they have also been working with non-governmental organizations to try to implement this, particularly areas where we have refugees. Yeah, a refugee, for instance, a Somali who is in Kenya, who do not have national identity. Yeah, he does not have a passport, he does not have a driving license, he does not have a national ID. Does he access banking services? Yeah, if we give them a unique identity, if we give them a digital identity on the blockchain, we can make it possible, yeah, for them to be able to access financial services. So blockchain key in helping Africa increase its financial accessibility and financial inclusion.
Interesting. We see how that place is going to really play a vital role. We also look at some other places that blockchain is going to be of importance in Africa. Can you help us? Let's look at. We know that in the area of real estate, we see that some people are saying that there are opportunities in for blockchain in the real estate sector, looking at the issues we are having over here in Africa with the land disputes, land registry, and the rest of them. Can you just let us know some other areas where blockchain will be of importance in Africa?
No, I think let me look at two areas which I think because there are areas that blockchain will be of help, of use, but it will take some time because of government bureaucracy, particularly in the area of land registry. It will take time before government provide the threshold of political will to actually establish a blockchain-based land registry that cannot be compromised. Not many politicians are still willing to allow that to happen. So I think areas that I can see penetration, we may see penetration soon enough, is like the area of agriculture. Agriculture in Africa, we have so many smallholder farmers. Yeah, the question is how do they access financing? Yeah, there's a lot of intermediation in the way they access financing. There's a lot of intermediation in the way they access or they are able to access insurance. Yeah, they're not able to properly collect data. Yeah, of their farming. Yeah. So with regard to blockchain, for instance, in the area of financing, yeah, a government or a non-governmental organization that would like to provide financing for rural farmers in Nigeria or in South Africa or in Ghana or in Kenya, yeah, they do not need to work with an intermediary. Yeah, these farmers, yeah, can be able to access financing where they can be able to open these wallets, yeah, and these wallets, when we bring the aspect of community inclusion currencies, where the provider can even say, when you open this particular wallet, any cryptocurrency sent into that wallet, the only places you can use it is you can only use it to buy seeds, you can only use it to buy fertilizers, which means the financier or the donor can then be able to follow to ensure that the recipients or the beneficiaries are actually using this money to buy the right. And this has been used in Kenya. A good example is a community inclusion currency that we call Sarafu. Sarafu in Kenya has been used in partnership with the Red Cross in Kenya. And post COVID, it has been used to provide basic needs, yeah, for people in formal settlement. Where you open a Sarafu, you open it using a USSD code. You dial, for instance, code *234. Then you open a wallet account. After all, you are gifted with some tokens. Wants to donate some money to you. This Sarafu coins, yeah, and one Sarafu coin is equivalent to 1 Kenya shillings. This wallet, yeah, we also have the vendor that can provide for you the basic needs. So we provide filling gas, cooking gas, say any basic need you can think of. Yeah, we don't have vendors who are selling alcohol, for instance. If Red Cross sends you money into that, sure that you're going to use them on basic needs outside that wallet. So I think that are immediate areas that we are.
Interesting. That's a very nice one in agriculture because we see that Africa is so much involved in the agricultural sector, and that's a very good one. And blockchain cut across different sectors. Let's look at. We know recently Kenya had its presidential election, and also over here in Nigeria, by next month, Nigeria will be having its own presidential elections. One of the challenges we are seeing in Africa is in the electoral sector. How do you think blockchain can play a role in this sector, the electoral sector?
Um, that is that is a very prominent role. Yeah, blockchain will play a very prominent role because election is about trust. We have entrusted a third party who is a body in Nigeria or in Kenya, whichever. There is a third party entrusted, yeah, to do what? To register the electorate, yeah, to provide the documents, or rather the tools for you to be able to vote. Yeah. So the question: how much do you trust these bodies? Yeah. If we use blockchain in a way that these bodies have only a role, yeah, a limited role, yeah, in the election process, particularly in management and particularly in uh, uh, in in um, in particularly in providing just facilitating the process. Comes to the data, the electorate, I think that would be so useful in ensuring that we have a registry of electorate, yeah, a registry of vote that is immutable, yeah, because the problem that has African countries when it comes to election is that dead voters, yeah, you voted in a previous election, some 100,000 people died, they still keep voting every year, yeah. If we, yeah, a system that is decentralized, that any citizen, yeah, Benjamin can be able to go into a blockchain-based registry of voters and can be able to do his own audit by going through this electoral system and be able to. I can look for somebody who has died and check if their name is still on the register. Yeah? And this way, we put a rigorous process to everybody participates because we do not need to trust a third party. It has been proven when it comes to, for instance, land registry. The reason why corruption in land ministries across Africa, not just in Kenya, across Africa, is that the land registry that is charged with the responsibility to register title deeds, they are corrupt. So they can decide to give duplicate title days. Yeah, it's the same way in elections. The electoral body can decide to give duplicate voters ID to different people. And although most voter registers have been digitized and the election process digitized, but many of them have laws and many of them are easy to compromise because they're not built on an immutable technology. That's why I think coming in as an immutable technology would really and limit any chances of compromise or compromising an election process.
Coin is extra interview session. We are still looking at blockchain opportunities in Africa. So we've been able to look at unbanked, how it's going to play a role, and we've been able to look at other sectors that can play a role. Also agriculture, and we also looked at the electoral sector. Very nice conversation with Benjamin Arunda. So we still have a few questions here, but before we take them, we'll go for a very short break. When we return, we continue with the conversation. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back to the show. Is still Coin's extra interview session. We're talking about opportunities, blockchain opportunities in Africa with Benjamin Arunda. I just have a few questions here. We draw the curtain. Benjamin, let's look at how you are making contributions in the ecosystem, seeing that you are the founder and lead blockchain consultant, Chain Advice.
Yes, can you come up again on the question?
How are you making contribution in the ecosystem?
Oh, all right. I got you. Yeah. So as Chain Advice, what we've been doing since Chain Advice was founded in 2019. Yeah. That is, I entered this industry actively 17. Yeah. And when I entered this industry, the first thing I did was write a blockchain because my frustration was the fact that the focus on the speculative aspect of crypto. Everybody was everybody wanted to make some money out of crypto, which is good. I don't have a problem with crypto because it's part of the industry. But then, particularly in my market, there was not a lot of activity with focus on the blockchain. So I wrote a book that focused on blockchain use cases across 14 different industries. It's available on Amazon, by the way. It's called Understanding the Blockchain. Yeah. Now, focusing on 14 different industries. So after that launch, and from 2019 when we launched Vice, what we've been doing, we've been working with focusing on corporate institutions, government agencies as well. And what we do, we try to help these people understand blockchain. Yeah. So the companies that we've worked with a lot include law firms, banking institutions, yeah, and as well government agencies, where we help them understand. Yeah. Our role has been to make them understand and be able to distinct the technology from the hype. Yeah. So that there's some soberness with regard to how can this technology help them. Yeah. Because in many of these boardrooms, when you go and you try, if you go to, for instance, to a board meeting where we have bankers, you try to tell them about you can make this money in crypto. You can. I mean, it is the time to invest this money. I mean, they will switch off. When I have these meetings in boardrooms, what I talk about blockchain, yeah, is transforming the industry. How of cryptocurrency, yeah, could some aspects of banking or some aspects of their real business, yeah. So what do they need to do? They look at how then can we get ready them to leave their business and just start crypto. PayPal has already started providing this service, is doing this in crypto. MasterCard is doing this. These are people that, so within no time, digital currency spread all over. Yeah. How can you prepare? What we do as Chain Advice is with regard to digital transformation that involve blockchain, metaverse, and how these technologies, these different industries, and how can these people in themselves.
before we draw the curtain on today's episode of Coin News Extra TV interview session, I just have just one question from you. Because of our time, just in 2 minutes, how do you see the adoption of blockchain evolving in Africa in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I tell people that 5 years in blockchain in the years in real world. 5 is a lot of time, and see that is going to happen in the next 5 years. One, most mainstream institutions, whether in financial services, in the legal industry, or the government agencies, they have already come to a realization of the fact that there is truly an impact that blockchain is going to have when it comes to business models. Yeah, and so right now the conversation how do we then regulate it? You cannot tell the government not to be centralized. You cannot decentralize government entirely. Yeah. So the nature of government is they need control. So right now the conversation advancing is how can we adopt blockchain? How can we also regulate cryptocurrencies while still remaining in control? That's where you're seeing a conversation around regulation. So within the next 2 years, in my view, there is going to spring a lot of conversations around regulation. A number of government institutions are going to regulatory frameworks, which, in my view, are not even final regulatory frameworks, but I would say interim regulatory frameworks. Yeah, in the sense that they will be basic. This industry evolved so fast. Before there was a conversation of DeFi. Before they could understand the vision of NFTs. Before they can understand NFTs, hyping NFTs. People are now in Web3. So are struggling to provide um, uh, uh, an all-rounded regulatory framework. Several years, they have failed. So what they're doing now is looking at how they can create interim regulatory framework, be able to tax this environment. In Kenya, there was parliament that was seeking to tax, cryptocurrency. So the question that we were asking as stakeholders is how an industry that you have not recognized. How can you tax a transaction that you've not recognized? So then they have to go back to the drawing board and look at how then can we regulate this industry, which means they have to first understand it. So there will be a lot of conversation about regulation. Second, there will be adoption, mainstream adoption, or particularly Bitcoin, as an asset class. We are going to see Bitcoin evolving now more than beyond being speculative and into mainstream investment banks as an asset class.
Interesting. Do we have some comments here on LinkedIn from Katrina? Election process and land registry, great examples of good use of blockchain. Thank you, dear Katrina. Douglas, decentralization is the way to evolution based on emerging technology. Katrina, again, there is a discussion at Davos that we need to start from scratch again on blockchain and make it more user friendly and take out redundant process. What do you think? So these are some of the comments that we have on LinkedIn. So thank you very much. Interesting conversation so far. I really enjoyed it. Benjamin Arunda, just a closing remark.
Yeah, I think I'll use my clock to reply to Katrina to do her is that the conversation from Davos with regard to starting from scratch is not there. You cannot. These are revolutionary technology. We do the start of internet. We did not know how it will. We did not know about intranet and all these conversations that are about internet. So we cannot take the evolutionary growth of the technology out of it. Yeah, we have patient to learn from the growth. Conversations around scalability, conversations around security, conversations around is it immutable or not, conversation around interoperability. How does it work with legacy technologies? These conversations are evolutionary conversations. Yeah, we cannot wake up one day and have a simplified blockchain, an advanced blockchain. We have to grow into them. So I think whatever Davos was spoken at Davos probably was spoken based on a layman terms. Somebody who is in a contemporary industries, who is probably an economist or a bank, who is looking, playing the devil's advocate when it comes to blockchain. But blockchain has generally so much advanced. Today we have Ethereum in the proof of stake. So that is advancement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Benjamin, for your time on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you very much once again. I'm looking forward to having you more on the show.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the
Yeah.
audience.
So thank you, audience, for our audience for taking our time to joining us. Still have other programs coming up. We have crypto history coming up by 3 p.m. West African time. We talk about the scams, the illicit activities, the money launderers, the hacks in the blockchain and crypto ecosystem. Don't miss that. I will be coming your way again. Thank you very much, and thank you once again. Bye bye for now.